Exciting, thrilling, awesome. Let's take a look.
What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to Talking Mets and Rob. How is everybody doing on this Saturday, January 7th, 6 p.m.? Welcome to Mets Hot Stove Live. And before we get into anything, we have a Cohen quote directly from Steve Cohen. No reporters, nothing at all. We'll get into it a little bit, but of course, we got to bring in the man of the hour, the man who's going to be co-hosting the Shea Bridge show with me, and it's going to be fun. And he is coming up right now. Let's bring him in right now and let's get it started. Mikey Mike, how you doing, buddy?
How you doing, man? How's everything going?
Right. Good, man. Good. So everybody, this is what he looks like. Don't be afraid. He's a cool guy. He's a diehard. He goes to a ton of games. He also rolls with the 7-Line Army as well. So it's we've had some times. We were talking about it before the stream. That will be under the table. Nobody will ever know what happens, but it's a lot of good times. But Mikey, introduce yourself and let everybody know how you became a Met fan and everything else you want to say to them.
Yeah, so I go by Baseball Mike, Snap, Mikey. I've been on the 7 line for a couple of years now. Me and my buddy Jonathan went on, and we haven't looked back since. Been a Met fan since the Piazza days. Edgardo Alfonso, Robin Ventura, Timo Perez, even like those types of games. And my grandfather, who lived to be 100, and my grandmother, who lived to be 97, they were diehard Met fans too. So they went through it. I grew up with it. Always been a Met fan, and so many great times as a Met fan and a 7 line member. Some of them I can remember, some of them I just can't. Which is also a good thing or a bad thing. It depends, but great times, and I've been a Met fan for a long time, so I understand the pain. I understand the glory of it. I understand the questionable times, but now we have Steve Cohen. So Steve Cohen has made a lot of things much better ever since he came into office.
Correct. And I was trying to remember when the first time we met during a 7 line outing. I think it was at home. I'm not sure, but it was probably at one of the tailgates because most of the time, we're drinking, we're having fun, and we just start to end up in groups, as you know. And I think it was like 2018 or something like that. It was a while ago.
Definitely before. I think it was a road game against the Nationals. And the thing is, I always look up YouTube videos on the Mets, and you popped up, and I saw you. I was like, wait a second, aren't you that guy on YouTube? I was like, oh, shit. So, ever since then, we've been partying. We partied in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was amazing.
Pittsburgh was just insane. A lot of that stuff we can't mention, but it was.
What happens in Pittsburgh stays in Pittsburgh.
You're damn right, because we all be in trouble, I tell you that.
Yeah.
But okay, so you're right about that. You know what? You're right about that. I think it was with the ballpark bar or brewery, right? That's the outdoor bar in Washington, right? Yeah. Okay, that was it. Okay. Yeah, because I remember I got there early because I took the bus there because I was gonna drive and then I took the bus. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, because I wasn't sure because I was like, damn, I know it was like a few years ago for sure, and it was like I know we were outside, but I couldn't remember. I knew we were in a group, and ever since then, and anybody who wants to go to a Met game and thinking about buying a ticket from the 7 line, trust me, if you don't know anybody, by the end of the night, you will know people. It's just that's how we are. We all drink. You know what? Yeah, exactly. We don't discriminate. We're just there. And look, just walk up to somebody and say hi. Nobody's gonna turn you off and turn you away.
Met fans that's the way we are. Maybe Yankee fans. No, I'm just kidding. But Met fans. When I first walked out, I didn't know anybody, and just speaking to everybody about the Mets brought us all closer together. Even when I just first got there, so they all welcomed me and Jonathan with open arms, especially me. It was awesome. Everybody was a great person there because, of course, they're Met fans. Met fans are great people. We've been through a lot, and we tend to comfort each other when it comes to those bad times. So great people all around. That's what I noticed.
Exactly. And that's the one thing, before the 7 line army, you used to go with your friend, a couple of friends, maybe a parent or two, or brother, sister, whatever. And seriously now, I don't go to a game without texting somebody, yo, you going? Are you going to be there 5:15? Everybody knows about 5:15 as well. And I talked about this on the stream many times in 5:15. I did live streams from 5:15 as well. Yeah. So it's a family now. It's not even just, friend. It's like everybody's our brother. Exactly. And that's the most important thing. So I wanted to get to, before we get a little bit further and ask you a few more questions about the Cohen tweet. And if you haven't seen it, this is what Cohen said. As I said this morning, Cohen did the event at Citi Field about what they're going to do in that 50-acre land next to Citi Field. And I don't know if you heard, but I think he's about to buy a license for a casino. The 3 that are available for New York State. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And of course, Met fans are going to show up because, the casino's cool and all, but we all wanted to know about Correa. And of course, Wardy actually asked, I believe he was the one that asked the question, but all the quotes from everybody who was there he basically said this: while I can't speak on the player, I do believe we'll have a resolution soon, one way or another. So I'll let you go first. What do you think that means? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I think I'm looking at the word believe, but regardless of that, like, he's not the type of person that starts something and doesn't finish it. If he sees
Correct.
that there's no end result, he'll cut it off completely. But
Yep.
there's just a couple of details that they need to iron out, and that's probably towards the lawyer side. But I think Correa is going to be a Met. He needs the Mets, as what it's been, it's been thrown out there that he needs the Mets more than the Mets need him, right?
Correct.
At this point, like, Stephen Cohen, he's gonna bulldoze through this. And another thing to look into this, like, who really wanted him on that side? Like, his wife. His wife is Puerto Rican.
Right.
She loved Lindor, and she loved Correa. He's gonna get it done, and it'd probably be an early Valentine's Day gift for his wife.
Exactly, and that's the way I took the quote, because if things weren't going well enough, I think Cohen would have said, let the process go. It is a process. It's a contract that is difficult to figure out. I think he would have elaborated a little bit more in that quote than just saying that. I feel like unless Correa like completely backs out and just overnight, like he did with the Giants, go to the Twins, that's the only way I think it's going to happen. But if this deal doesn't go down, I think the Mets are going to walk away. I said this earlier during the Correa update stream in the morning. I think the Mets would be the one to walk away because, like you just said, the Correa needs the Mets more than the Mets need Correa. Because even with this team now, they're still one of the top, 5 or 6 teams in baseball. With Correa, we might be pushed to the top 3. And that's something that I think everybody probably believes. Obviously some people want this guy, some people don't want Correa. And I don't understand that aspect of it. Injury or no injury, the guy never been on the IL with that ankle injury his entire career. So except when he was in the minors, when he had that surgery and put the plate in his ankle. So we never had to be on the IL because of that ankle injury. Now, if you want to say I don't trust his back issues, fine. I get that. We've dealt with David Wright with that. But do you think he's going to have a problem like 8 years down the road with his ankle, or do you just care about the first 3-4 years mostly?
Honestly, what did Cohen say? We want to win now, right? So I'm looking the next 3 years. I'm not towards the end of the career. Like, if he does a no trade clause, that's a little bit different. Like, if there's if there's a trade clause in there mixed in with everything else, fine. Like, I'm looking for the first 3 to 5 years with him, because we'll get prime Correa. And then once he hit his mid 30s and then early 30s, that's when you have to really look at his ankle, because it's wear and tear. And he's a big guy. He's what, 6'4"? Usually those big guys have problems with their lower extremities. So it just depends. But I'm looking to win, man. I feel 2023 is going to be the year. And if we get Correa, it's going to push our lineup to the top, because you're going to see a lot of our big players that are on the lineup now see a lot of fastballs. There's going to be a lot of fastballs, and they're going to be throwing around certain players, and other players are going to be seeing pitches they weren't seeing last year. So it boosts up the lineup, and it brings a lot of protection. That's what we need. That's what we had in 2006, right? We had Delgado, we had Beltran, we had David Wright, Paulo Duca. Same concept. Yes. So we need that protection. And I think he would be a great addition.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, it extends the lineup. Again, I don't know where you think, if Correa does sign, where do you think he would be in the lineup? Do you think 1 through 4 is what it would be last year, and then Correa would be 5th or 6th? What do you think?
Look, honestly, I want the guys who get on base to be there, and I want him to drive in people. So I'm looking at 5th, maybe 5th. That's the one thing I'm looking at. Some people say bat him 2nd, but then I'm like, I want look, there's a lot of things that I want. There's a lot of opinions out there. McNeil's a great run producer, and he just brings those guys in. He's clutch. So he needs to be a guy that brings people in. Nimmo needs to be on the top. Marte needs to be in the top, but I could see him mid lineup, batting behind Alonso or something like that, and just mixing and matching. You could change the lineup all you want, but what do you think about that? Do you think he should be up in the lineup or towards the middle? Because
I debated about this, and I already said it multiple times. I think he should be 5th. You're not going to get, Cohen said it. This is the bat we need, right? This is the missing piece, and you're not going to have that missing piece and put him bat him second, where you're gonna move Marte out of that first two spots in the lineup and move him back to fifth or sixth. I love Marte, but I like Marte. Yeah, exactly. With his speed, I need him at the top of the lineup. And I think Correa, correct. Exactly. And 1 through 4 was so lethal last year when everybody was healthy. Like, it was almost impossible to get those guys out in the first half of the season. And it was lethal. And if Marte never got hurt, who knows how many more wins we would have had in September.
He was the missing piece in the playoffs. And it was just tough. I mean, he got a hit in the playoffs, but he's a big piece. Marte is a big piece, and we need him to be healthy.
I agree.
And if we bring in another bat, which is what we needed in the deadline, I think we got snubbed. But
I agree.
You know,
I agree. Exactly.
Dan Ruff.
Yeah. But it's funny though that you said that. Like, we didn't do enough at the trade deadline. We all know that. And what I think what Cohen and Epler is trying to do, even though I think Correa is Cohen's baby here, like Epler had nothing to do with that. But what I think they're trying to do in this offseason is do everything they can to make this team as good as possible going into the season, so they don't have to make that big move at the trade deadline. They only got to make a small piece. Like, if the team that is going into this year that might have Correa and, brought back Nimmo and, solidify the bench and the bullpen looks better than last year. Yeah. If you go into the trade deadline and all you need is a guy like Givens, in the early, in that is not that important to the bullpen, but is an extra arm in that bullpen. Nobody would have bitched and moaned about it. But because Givens was the only thing we got last year and we needed another lefty in that bullpen, or at least another solid arm to help that bullpen, we didn't get that. And then we all know about Vogelback, who wasn't terrible, but he wasn't the power bat that team needed last year. Yeah. He was an on-base guy, and we had enough of those. We didn't have enough run producers, and I think that's why Correa is so important, because even if they decide to bat him second, it still pushes back everybody. And I think the lineup is going to be dynamic no matter where you put him. But I don't think Correa at batting him second is going to change the lineup enough where Marte is going to be the 90 RBI guy all of a sudden. I don't think that he's that type of player anymore. I think he's more of a guy that, with Correa now, like I was telling people, look at the 2019 stats of Correa. That's the only year the Astros put him in the 5th or 6th spot. And why did he have 92, 94 RBIs in 2019? Because he had more people on base. And he's clutch. He's one of the best postseason players in the last couple of years. Exactly. And, not that I want to, like, I'm not falling over, because I everybody knows this. I wanted Trey Turner. I thought he was the perfect addition to the Mets, but a nice little bonus would have been Correa, and everybody knows that. So it's not like I'm just, puffing my chest saying, oh, Correa. I wanted Turner. I'm not going to lie. It sucks that he went to Philly, but we just strike him out, right? That's what we're going to do. So,
keep him off base.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. And with the bullpen, Gregory Soto to the Phillies, there was some talk that the Mets were trying to get Gregory Soto and Escobar could have been in the deal. Now that Soto is off the table and going to Philly, and I think that's a good move by Philly. We can't stand Philly, but let's be honest. They need bullpen help, and they're doing it. And they're going to be a tough team. There's no doubt about that. The lineup's lethal, but they do strike out a lot along with the Atlanta Braves. What the Mets do well is not strike out as much as those teams, and that's why they were a pain in the ass last year to deal with, especially in the first half. But there's Chafin out there, Michael Fulmer. There's still a possibility the Mets might trade for Liam Hendricks. Yeah, that's the funny thing. Wow. Like we were just talking about, like he's still out there, and which is weird because which worries me a little bit is like, is there something wrong with him?
It's probably health wise because like he did great last year, didn't he? With the Tigers?
He was excellent.
Tigers.
Oh, right? Tigers. He's excellent. He was really good last year, and I'm like, all right, maybe the market just didn't develop, and like ever since like this Correa thing happened with the Mets, it seemed like baseball has like stopped completely with like moves. Like there's been 1 or 2 moves, but nothing's been happening. So
are people looking more into the medical histories now?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Baseball's
like it's crazy.
Changing, Jesus.
Yeah, and it's like I want Chafin. Like I was like, if you need to get correct, and I think we need one more lefty because Rayleigh, who we traded from the Rays, is good, but It's not enough. I think I like two lefties. Yeah. I like two lefties in the bullpen. I think that's the way it should be. And I think it just sets up your bullpen because with the 3-batter rule and also the fact that if you use your lefty early on because you have no other lefty. Yeah, David Robertson is good against lefties, but he's going to be your 8th inning guy for the most of the time.
You can't overuse
You don't want
him.
Exactly. So who would you want? Would you want, if you had a choice, if Mets can trade for Liam Hendricks, or would you want Chafin? Which one would you want?
I mean, if we get Chafin, we don't have to trade anybody.
No, exactly.
It's money.
Exactly.
Simple. And Cohen has it, and he doesn't care at this point. Well, to a certain extent, but like, if you have a choice between getting a lefty specialist or getting a dominant closer, but the closer you're going to have to trade Escobar for, who could possibly be our bench piece, and he can go anywhere in the infield, and he helps us out more. I mean, it's logical to go to the free agent. But let me tell you something. If we get Hendricks and it's just for Escobar, maybe another minor leaguer that is not one of the tops, that's a steal.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it makes your bullpen elite.
Monster in the fucking bullpen.
Yeah, exactly.
Dominant.
And just think, and look, even if you have to pitch, you don't have to worry about, we have to pitch Diaz 3 days in a row for saves. Now you got Hendricks to step in, and you're not losing. You're not missing a beat there.
And they stay with a high percentage of stamina. They won't be worn out. You'll have them enough for the playoffs, and then you could pick and choose in the playoffs. And then, I'm thinking too far ahead, but like that would be the most dominant bullpen I've ever seen.
Yeah, I agree, and it's hard.
So
maybe I think it was like 2018, 2019 when the Yankees had that monster bullpen with what was it, Britton and all those. It was like 4 or 5 guys. Like it was just insane. Yeah, exactly, and it was similar to that. Even though they didn't win, their bullpen wasn't the problem. It was their offense. And like I said, if the Mets can score runs like they did last year, I think it was a little bit over 4 runs a game in the first half. That's what they were scoring. It's almost impossible to lose because you don't, with a solid bullpen, if you have like 4 or 5 guys that you trust almost on a regular basis in the bullpen, you don't have to use your rotation, especially the older guys, Verlander and Scherzer, so much early on in the season. You could save those bullets at the end of the year when you really need it and in the postseason.
Yeah.
So Mike, show starts tomorrow, 6 p.m. You ready?
I'll be there. All
right. So guys, there you go. Once again, guys, baseball, Mike, again, he's going to be a part of the show consistently every week. Again, life happens. If he can't show up or I can't show up, I have no problem him filling in if he wants to and everything like that. I'm going to give him access to the channel as soon as I'm going to put his name. Oh yeah, that's Mike. I didn't tell you that. There's a way that you can have access to the channel. So like if something happens with the Mets, like breaking news or something like that, and I can't do it, I'll say, hey Mike, can you throw up a breaking news video real quick? So I'll give you access to that as well. So you'll be seeing Mike a lot. Again, we're gonna do weekly shows every Sunday, 6 p.m. We'll change the times depending on if the Mets play Sunday Night Baseball or whatever happens, schedule wise. But most likely it's going to be 6 p.m. every Sunday, even during the season. We're going to do weekly recaps, looking ahead of the week ahead with the Mets. And, we're going to have fun. And again, I know Mike for a couple of years now, and I'm not going to bring anybody on this channel that I don't believe knows his shit and also is a true Met fan, a diehard who has all the bumps and bruises of the bad years. And I think you guys can actually, yeah. So Mike, say whatever you want to say to the subscribers and everybody viewing, and then I'll send you off until tomorrow.
Hey guys, look at it this way. We're all Met fans. We all want them to win. We all want the best for this team. We all want the best for ourselves. So I'm here to just shed some light with Rob on everything that's going on, and just talk and have fun with baseball and the Mets. So we're all in this together, and I'm excited for this. So let's LFGM, baby.
All right, there you go. So there you go, guys. Baseball, Mike, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll text you after the stream. Have a good night, buddy. I'll see you next time.
Sounds good. Take care, my guy.
All right, man. All right, guys. So that was Baseball Mike. Again, a good friend that I met from the 7 line. Again, he brought up the Washington, where I didn't even think of that because I thought it was at Citi Field at a tailgate, but it was actually at Nationals Park. When he said that, it rang a bell because I think it's called the ballpark, the outdoor bar. And I remember because we were all there at the 7-line outing. We were just all there, drinking, eating, and stuff like that. We always pregame before the game and after the game. So, and he did bring that up. I think it was 2018 that we did that. So yeah, Mike's a great guy, and like I said, he knows his stuff. And again, I'm not going to bring anybody on the show I don't trust, and is not going to bring something to the table. Again, I don't know everything. Obviously, I'm wrong more times than I'm right, but I think bringing a new opinion to the channel is always going to be better because, like I said, it's always fun talking to you guys and having fun and everything like that. But to bring another perspective, and then we can debate, and it's more of a debate with what this is right now. You saw within, what is it, a half, not even about 20 minutes into the stream, we went back and forth on a lot of things. Look, we agreed on most things, but we didn't agree on certain things, right? He wanted Chafin, and he thinks Correa as at the number 5 spot because as much people like to look at stats, and Mike even brought this up. People like to just look at stats and say, "Oh, well, Correa's not a great player. He only has 60. He averages about 65 RBIs a year." But if you take that into perspective, him batting second almost all the time in his career, you don't get a lot of people on base in those spots. Correa has to be more of a on base guy and a guy who is a situational hitter, and getting on base is that type of guy you need in the number 1 spot and the number 2 spot where he was most of his career. But the one time when he got the opportunity to hit in a spot where you're supposed to be a run producer, he produced. And that's why I think batting him 5th makes the most sense. So once again, guys, if you're just tuning in, Steve Cohen has spoken about the Correa situation at today's event at Citi Field. It was the Citi Field event where he wanted to get just the opinions of sports fans, baseball fans, Met fans about the 50 acres that is next to Citi Field, to what to do with it. I think he already has his mind set, but he does like our opinions. As you all know, Steve Cohen loves the opinions of Met fans. He always asks questions to make things better. And as I said, there's 3 licenses available for New York State, and it's $500 million a piece. And all indications are, the rumors, I was reading Forbes the other day, that Steve Cohen is like first in line to get one of those licenses. And I think he's going to get it. And I do think he's going to do a casino hotel next to Citi Field in that 50-acre land. And if you have been to Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, right next door is the Live Casino. And if you haven't been there, it's great because you can go there, you can gamble a little bit, drink a little bit, and then go to the game. So it's a great spot. If you've been to Philadelphia, they got the arenas on stadiums right next to each other. The Lincoln Financial, they got the basketball hockey arena, and they also got Citizens Bank in walking distance, basically. So that's something that I think Citi Field needs, because Citi Field's great, but you can't do anything pre or post unless you tailgate. You can't go to, there's bars around there, but not to the capacity that you would like. And, yes, they had McFadden's there at one point, but that it was still, you can pick and choose, bar hopping and stuff like that, and just going to restaurants. That's going to give something else to do before the game and after the game. Jake, the event was just to talk about the 50 acres of land next to Citi Field. We all know about the New York City FC soccer team that's going to be building a stadium. I believe next to that, it's not the other side of 41 Seaver Way. It's the opposite side, right? That's where it's going to be. So, and then, it's an event just to get people's opinions about what to do with that 50-acre land that Cohen owns. That is Citi Field property. And if you don't know, the real estate mogul in that area and the New York City FC soccer stadium is going to be designed and planned by the Wilpons. So the Wilpons are making a mint on this real estate area. So, oh God, this guy again. God, I just can't with these people. All right, so that's something that he was doing with the event today. Again, I had things to do, so I couldn't go. I wanted to, but you know what? Life happens, right? But that was the event that happened. But this is the quote that he put up. Let me just throw it up there. He said, "While I can't speak on the player, meaning Correa, I do believe we'll have a resolution soon, one way or another." I think that tells me that there's more positive vibes around that situation than what we've heard over the last 24 to 36 hours, in my opinion. Again, I could be completely off the path there, but I do think that Correa is still going to be a Met, because I don't think if he goes to the Twins, he's taking less money and less years, in my opinion. And if he's going to take less money and less years, why not just do it with the Mets? Like, I just don't understand. If you really want to be a Met, you go into Minnesota for less years and less money, but not doing it for the Mets, which is kind of weird. So that's the quote there on the screen. While I can't speak on the player, I do believe we'll have a resolution soon, one way or another. That was Steve Cohen earlier today at the event at Citi Field. All right, guys. So, Joel, I do think that the Mets have all the leverage. All right, guys. Sorry about that. Let me just remove some people that just keep on asking the same thing every single time. Yeah, there was something about a rumor about what the Twins offered, but the Twins. Yeah, you know, Hector, I'm not 100% sure if that's like a legit like offer or anything like that, but Roger, I appreciate it, buddy. You know, I kind of trying to figure out, like, I was looking for it too. Like, I heard the reports, but it wasn't actually. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they gave him, it was like a 10-year, $285 million deal. That was prior to the Giants agreeing to a deal with them. So I don't think it's going to be that much. I think it's going to be less. I think it's going to come down to, where does Correa want to be? I think it's going to be similar offers. Even if the Twins offer the same contract, right? Again, we can take this with a grain of salt, but I just want to throw it out there because I don't keep it from you guys at all. This is MLB scoops that, you know, we're not saying it's legit or anything like that, but he put up a tweet that says the Mets have offered Carlos Correa a new deal of around 8 to 9 years with a higher AAV. And that was something that was that he said. Again, who knows if that's true or not, but it kind of makes sense, the fact that if this deal was going to be 12 years, $350 million, I think this deal would have been done already. But I think the Mets don't want to give more than 10 years because, no, Ethan, I agree. Scoops is not, because he's been wrong a lot of times. But it does bring up the question where that deal, that offer kind of makes sense, right? I was bringing this up a week ago. I keep on saying I think it's going to be less years, but more money per year. And if you look at 8 to 9 years, they were saying around 272 for 8 years and 9 for 290 or something like that, which is between $30 and $35 million a year. So again, I don't care about the money wise, to be honest with you. I really don't. I'm more concerned about the years. Like I said, if you can get Correa for under 10 years, I think it's a complete win. Because if you can get 5 to 6 years of what we know Correa can be out of, say, 9 years, I think that's a win. And if that throws in a World Series title, I would be happy with that. But, you know, again, it's not a one-man sport, right? It's a team sport. Correa can be great, and Lindor can have a down year, you know? So, but I always look at, and I said this earlier today on the Correa update stream, if you look at a long-term deal and you only are worried about the back end of the deal, you're never going to appreciate the life of the contract. If he has a 9-year deal with the Mets, if you get 5 or 6 of the Correa years that you expect from him, the clutch performances in playoffs, the guy that elevates a team, that is a leader of the team, that's something that you have to look at more than the back end of the contract. there's not a lot of back end of the contracts with anybody on a long-term deal that is going to be worth the money at that point at year 7, 8, even 9. And I do think you have to look more of the first 5 to 6 years of a contract that is at least 7 to 8 or 9 years. If you get quality, and I'm talking about the player that you expect to get in his prime, Correa is in his prime. 28 to 32 is the prime years. If you get him from 28 until 34, and that's Correa type numbers, I think it's worth the contract. You have to take risks. Why take risks with Verlander and Scherzer, but not take risks with a guy who can put you on another level? And if you're not going to do that, then what's the point of signing Verlander? Because you're just wasting everybody's time. Because just because you won 101 games last year doesn't mean you're just going to win 101 games or more the following year, right? No prior year has anything to do with the next year coming up. And I think we forget that, right? 1995 has nothing to do with 2023. 2022 has nothing to do with 2023. The only thing that you can probably bring up is the fact that maybe the experience of Alonso, McNeil, Nimmo, guys who've never been in the playoffs before, take that as a learning experience by getting beat down by the Padres and have that experience and bring it into the 2023 season. And maybe it gives them a little bit more confidence. They know, the wheel will be spinning in the playoffs, right? All this stuff that's going on, all the recognition, everything is going to be similar now. And it's going to be, okay, I'm going to expect that. You don't have to, not know what's going on. And like Pete Alonso, Nimmo, McNeil, that they were bright-eyed, bushy-tail. That's what they were, right? They were shocked by the moment. And you know what? They didn't play necessarily bad, but they weren't good enough. And the veterans that you needed to count on, mostly the rotation, was a complete disaster. So I still think at the end of the day, if you're going to take big risk, and let's be honest, guys, the Scherzer and Verlander are big risk. 38, 39-year-old pitchers who are at the latter end of their career, still really good pitchers. If they remain healthy, I don't think there's going to be a problem. But the bigger issue is if you're going to take a risk with pitchers, I would take the risk with Correa. Because if you're going to look at his ankle and it's going to be a problem in 6 years from now, but you look at his history, he's never been on the IL because of that ankle. He's been on the IL with his back, a couple of hamstrings, couple of I think he had a toe injury a couple of years ago, but never was on the IL for that ankle. And that's important to realize. This has to be a part of it. You can't just look at, the plate might now hold up 7 years from now. Well, when he's 36 years old, I don't care if no plate or not, you're not going to be the same player you were at 28 years old. I don't care if he got 100% health. At 36 years old, you're going to decline. So if his ankle is going to make him decline, his age would have made him decline anyway. And you got the DH spot and no matter if you keep Escobar or you use Beatty, you got guys that you can fill in to give Correa days off his feet. It's not like he has to play 159 games when you have Beatty and Escobar as well that can back him up and play games. If you want Correa's bat in the lineup, you DH him and you don't play the field. We did that with Marte a couple times. We did it with Alonso a lot last year. When we wanted to give him a break on the field, you DH'd him. We have that option now. And people just seem to forget that. Like, what if he hurts his ankle 5 years from now? Well, okay, fine. Then he'll be the DH. Like if his offensive skills are still there at 35, 36, but he lost a step or two on the field, that's why you have the DH. Now we have that advantage that the American League had for the last, 30 years. Now we have that opportunity and that advantage now where we can use a guy that might not be the same on the field anymore, but can still hit with the best of them. Listen, if Correa can still hit 270 and hit his 20 home runs at 36 years old, that's a freaking win. All right, You know, that's why you still have Beatty. Beatty could be the third base 5 years from now if you want to play him in left field for the first couple of years. He's a guy that can play third and play left. We have those options. You know, the Red Sox and Joel, I was about to bring that up. The Red Sox knew the latter part of that 4-year deal with JD Martinez was going to be him being basically an everyday DH. You know, yes, they got him for first base at first, but they knew he was going to break down rather quickly. And they used him as the DH, and he was still very good. So it's not like Correa, oh, my ankle's acting up, or he's 35, 36 years old, and you're already, 5, 6, 7 years into the contract, and you only got a couple of more years left. You can deal with him being the DH, even if he's not the same player. You don't have to play him every day. You know, 6, 7 years from now, you might have Mauricio up, Beatty, Alvarez might be a big part of this, Parada, Jet Williams, Alex Ramirez. You just don't know. And I do think more people are not looking exactly at the real reason why you want Correa for the next 4 to 5 to 6 years, because he can be that type of dynamic player in this lineup that the Mets need. If you don't think the Mets need a guy like Correa or a bat similar to Correa, and I'm not talking about home runs. Home runs are important. Absolutely. Power is important. But you need more run producers. And if you don't get Correa, everybody who talks about Duvall and Mancini, they, way back when, yes, in 2021, Duvall had a great year. But what happened last year? He wasn't very good. And most of his career, he's hit 16 to 20 home runs, except for 7 years ago when he hit 30 home runs when he hit in a bandbox at Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody takes that into consideration. And not saying I don't want Duvall. Like, if Correa backs out and goes to the Twins, I'm not going to kill the Mets for it, because I think Steve Cohen would do everything he can to get Correa. It's Correa's decision as well, right? If we were talking about Mancini and Duvall prior to this whole thing with the Mets jumping in on Correa. So I'm not mad if Correa goes elsewhere. I'll be pissed off because I think that's the player that can make this lineup so much better. But let's not act like Trey Mancini or Adam Duvall is going to make this lineup better than if we had Correa in it, because it's not happening. It's not going to be as good. Would it be okay? Yeah. But we're relying on Duvall to have his 2021 year or his 2016, 2017, 2015, 2016 year, which you can't really predict. And when you have an 8-year career and most of the time you hit over 30 home runs was 7 years ago, I don't care about 7 years ago. You want to go back to 2021? We'll have a debate. But he also was in Cincinnati before he was in Atlanta. So he played well in Atlanta, but let's not act like he was, he's not the guy that I think that you're going to play every day, because he's good, but I don't think you're going to play him every day, even if you get Duvall. Because if you do get Duvall and Correa is not an option, you're probably going to play Beatty a little bit more. You're probably going to play Escobar a little bit more. And Vogelback is going to be your DH with the right-handers. And who knows what you're going to use with the left-handers. Is Duvall going to be the right-handed bat off the bench instead of Ruff? Who knows? Kiko, I don't care what you think. I'm asking. That's it. And if you haven't checked, most YouTubers that actually do sports channels have members. And I don't care why. And it's not taking everybody's money. If you know me at all, and I'm going to bring this up because he said something, is the fact that everybody who knows me, I don't ask for super chats. People ask me about being members. And that's why I brought up that poll. That's it. That's all. If you don't want to be a member, I'm not putting the gun to your head. Nobody's forcing you to do so, but you do get perks, right? I am doing giveaways. I'm going to be doing a giveaway soon for the members. And I also do subscriber giveaways as well. So if you don't want to be a member, you don't have to be, Kiko. I don't care. At the end of the day, if you're here with me as just a subscriber and a viewer, that's fine. I don't care. I answer people's questions without a super chat. Some people don't, and everybody knows who I'm talking about. And there's a lot of them out there. I don't do that. If you want to bring a super chat to highlight your message, fine, but I don't care either way. 18, I agree, Duvall. But see, if you don't get Correa, Duvall is going to be a depth piece. Well, okay, he's probably not going to play every day. I'm telling you that right now. He's not playing every day. I'm letting you know that right now because he's a 213 hitter. He's a 215 hitter. So you're going to get a lot of strikeouts and barely putting the bat on the ball. If he doesn't hit a home run, he does nothing else. So that's the problem that I have with Duvall. Look at his averages throughout his career. I think the highest he hit was like 260, and that was like 1 year. Last year, he hit like 220. Even with the Braves, I think he had a decent average, but he's not an average hitter. So the guy that you need to be a run producer, if he doesn't hit a home run, he doesn't produce runs. So great. I have him as a fourth outfielder. That's fine, but you can't play him over anybody else. Like, I know people don't like Canna, but Canna had a ton of big hits last year. People, he wasn't great, but you also have Beatty in that mix as well. So are you going to play Duvall over Beatty? I wouldn't. I don't trust Duvall enough to give him that opportunity every single day, because you got options internally as well. Beatty could be your fourth outfielder if you really need to. He can play left field. He can probably play right field in a crunch. And if you're going to use Beatty in left field, Canna can play all three outfield positions. So you have your fourth outfielder also. But people just look at Duvall. Oh, look at the home runs he hit. Where? In 2021, he was playing mostly for Cincinnati, and that place you hit a pop-up that's over the wall. And I do think the fact that if he's a guy that is going to bat 220, what is that doing for us? Because I want run producers. Home runs are important, but it's not like he's going to hit just 17 home runs and he's going to bat 290. If he's doing that, hey, bring him aboard, because putting the bat on the ball, especially now with the shift being banned, is going to be a whole new ball game. So if he doesn't put the bat on the ball, he's not helping the team at all. And if it's either a home run or a strikeout, I don't want him on my team, because the Mets were so good last year because they didn't strike out a lot. What they lacked was run producers, not home run guys. Power is important. It wasn't the point of home runs. It was the point when you got people on and it wasn't Lindor and Alonso up. We needed RBI guys. We did not have them. Give me an RBI guy. At least with Mancini, who could play first, third, and corner outfield. He hits for a 260, 265 average, still with the average amount of home runs in their career with Duvall and Mancini are very similar. So if he hits 18 home runs, he hits 45 points higher than Duvall. Give me that guy every day of the week. Somebody became a member. Hold on, guys. Let me see. Chris Sabatella, thank you for becoming a member of the channel. And once again, don't forget, members, I will be doing a giveaway for you guys soon. Again, if you're a new member like Chris, I post a video for members only. I do a random wheel, and if you win, you get the giveaway. Last time I did a mystery box. I think I did the 7-line gift card. I believe I forgot who won, but that is something that I do with the members, and I also do subscriber giveaways. What I do, I make people either type something in the comments or do a $5 donation to the channel, and you as many times as you donate $5, you get more chances to win, because you get more of a place in the random selection. So I think I did it during the All-Star break last year, where if you do as many times as I think I did $5 super chat. And if you donate $5 to the channel, as many times as you do, you get more entries into the giveaway, into the random giveaway. I did a mystery box. I think if Correa signs with the members, I'll do like a shirt, and like I'll do like other stuff too. Like I'll get, like I got like so much stuff, bobbleheads and stuff like that. I throw in a mystery box. So if you're a member, if you become a member by Sunday night, sometime next week, whenever the Correa situation happens, I'm going to do a giveaway for the members, and then we're going to do something for the subscribers as well. So, Chris, thank you for becoming a member, and I do appreciate it, buddy. So, welcome to the family. All right, guys. I'm just looking through the comments really quick. David, I appreciate it, buddy. Hey, Sean, I'm a hater. What am I a hater? Ray, I appreciate it, buddy. Yeah, explosive. I know a lot of people wanted JD Martinez, but JD Martinez had a rough second half. And, I wouldn't mind it. Again, it's not like, if it was between Mancini, Duvall, and Martinez, maybe I would go Martinez, but I don't know. He scared me last year in the second half. Like, if the Mets would have got JD Martinez, that was the guy I wanted at the trade deadline. But if he played the way he did for Boston in the second half, I mean, he would have been Darren Ruff all over again. So, I would rather trade JD Davis and 3 prospects for JD Martinez instead of freaking Darren Ruff. But what are you going to do? Yeah, CAA, Reynolds is not happening. I thought prior to Nimmo signing, I think the Mets could have looked at Reynolds. But what the Pirates are asking for is, multiple pitching prospects. Like, they want 3 of your top 10 prospects. And I don't know if the Mets are going to do that for not Brian Reynolds, even though he's a really good player. If the Mets didn't sign Nimmo, I would have said, all right, let's go all in for Reynolds. But since we got Nimmo and our outfield's basically set for the most part, because if the Mets do sign Correa, Beatty and Canna are going to be the left fielders platooning 100%. And I'm okay with that. Well, explosive, exactly. And you know what? Unfortunately, Canna isn't a huge run producer. He's a guy who takes a lot of walks, gets hit by pitches a lot. He gets on base. And, he's not a run producer. So him batting at the later part of the lineup, 7th, 6th, 7th, 8th, or he'll probably be batting, 8th in this lineup probably? If he's batting 8th in this lineup, get on base. And what that does is get the 9th batter up and it turns over the lineup. That's a big key. And, people are like, Canna was the problem with Canna, and people I think have a problem with Canna because Canna batted 6th a couple of times. He batted 5th a couple of times, 7th. He was in that range where we needed him to produce runs. And he's not that guy. He's an on-base guy that will hit you, 13, 14 home runs, a decent average, not great, but he's not a run producer. He's a guy that gets on base. And the problem with all the guys that were getting on base, the Nimmo, Marte, Canna, you can go on and on. Even Escobar at the end of the year got on base a lot, but he started to be a run producer. We had no problem getting people on base. We didn't needed people to score those runs, get those RBIs. Canna's not that guy. And I think what Canna's going to be good at this year, because if we do get Correa, I think Canna's going to be batting probably 8th. And if Canna bats 8th, he's so disciplined at the plate. He's going to get on base. And again, getting that 9th hitter at the plate. And don't forget, Omar Narvaez is going to be your starting catcher. He's got some pop in his bat. He's better than James McCann offensively. That's a huge difference. And you get the 9th hitter up, you get the turn to the top of your order again, no matter if the 9th hitter gets out and ends the inning, at least you got the top of the order coming back up. And you know what? People don't think that's important, but it really is, especially in crucial situations. Okay, Bravos, that was right. Okay, he did play in Miami. Okay, you're right. I'm looking at it now when you just brought it up in the comments. Let's see. So he had a great year in 2021. Like it's hard to fault that, right? He had a great year, but he didn't have another year like that since 2015, and he was crucial to the Braves in 2021, no doubt about that. But he was also the guy that where was he when it really counted, right? Eddie Rosario and Soler were the big boys in the playoffs. So again, I'm not saying that Duvall's a bad option. I have no problem having a guy who's a 4th outfielder. I don't want him playing every day. I don't want him playing over Canna. Canna brings more to the table than Duvall does. If you want Duvall in a big spot later in games because you need that power, you need that power, that home run or something like that, fine. Because that's all he is. He's a home run guy that doesn't hit for average, and he strikes out a ton. And it's okay if he's your fourth outfielder. But if you're going to play him every day, he's going to get exposed just like he does almost every year of his career. If he's hitting 35, 40 home runs a year, then that's a different story because he gets that runs in by driving in that many runs by the home run ball. So I can care less if you bat 220. But he's done it 3 times in his career in 9 years? I don't trust it. And in 2021, like what happened last year? Like, where were you? Right? He wasn't great at all. So as a fourth outfielder, yes. As a guy you want to bring in late in the game in a big spot, you need a home run, fine. I'll do that. Give him spot starts here and there. I'll take it. But to have him as like one of the guys that are going to platoon at DH, I don't trust that. I don't like platoons at the DH spot. Either bring a guy in that can DH every single day or use the DH spot to give guys days off on the field so you can still have their bat in the lineup. Mario, can the Mets sign Chafin and trade for Hendricks? I don't think they're going to do both, in my opinion. I think it's either one or the other. Again, before the Correa thing, we were hearing rumblings about the Mets traded for Hendricks. I don't know where that is anymore. And then only recently we heard about Gregory Soto before he went to the Phillies. So I don't know what's going on with Chafin and why the Mets haven't been really linked, but nobody really has been linked to Chafin at all, which is weird. That's why when Mike was on, we were like, is there an injury concern? Is there something? Did he get? I don't remember him getting hurt last year. Like he had a decent amount of games. Is there something that they're worried about with him? Most teams, I don't know, but he's one of the better relievers still out there, and it's kind of weird. In my opinion, if Chafin's healthy, I want Chafin because it's only money. I don't know what you're going to have to give up for Hendricks. Like there was rumors that it would have been before McCann got traded to the Orioles. It was McCann and Vientos, and then not too long after that, it was just Mauricio. And I'm not really interested in giving a top 5, top 6 prospect for, even though Hendricks is a dominant reliever and dominant closer, I don't know if you're going to give a top 6 prospect for Hendricks, and you're going to be taking on that money as well. I mean, maybe I would do it, but I would think twice about it. And I don't think the Mets are willing to give up any prominent prospect at this point right now. Because what I think they're doing, and especially if the Mets get Correa, if the trade deadline comes and there's a possibility that Ohtani could become available at the deadline, I think you want to save those bullets for that. So just spend the money, get Chafin or get Michael Fulmer or somebody else that might be out there that the Mets like. I think Chafin makes the most sense because I like 2 lefties in a bullpen because it always comes up in so many games where at one moment you're using a lefty early in the game and now he's done. Now later in the game when it's not time for either your 8th or 9th inning guy yet, or you're in a tie ball game where you're not going to use those guys and you need the lefty, you don't have him in the bullpen. I love 2 lefties in the bullpen. It's a big mistake by the Mets last year. They had Rodriguez and they had Shreve, and Shreve was gone from the team right after the second half, so he was gone. And then Joely Rodriguez, he was all right, but when you only had that one lefty in the bullpen, it was tough for Buck to use him in certain spots, thinking this might be the most important part of the game, and he uses Rodriguez, and now another part of the game later in the game was even more important now, and you don't have that guy, and you have to rely on a right-handed pitcher who might be good against lefties, but the lefty pitcher has a better chance of getting him out than the righty pitcher. And that's why I like the 2 lefties in the bullpen, Mario. So Chafin would be my choice. Thank you for the super chat, buddy. John, thanks for the stream. Really enjoyed the show. I appreciate that. Buddy, John, you don't have to send a super chat to spread that news, but I appreciate that, buddy. Well, CAA, you know what's funny about Matt Allen? According to the report, Joe DeMayo talked about it. Jack Ramsey spoke about it as well, who are very familiar with the minor leagues. Matt Allen is finally healthy. I think what the Mets are going to do, because the pitching prospects are not very prominent in our top 20, top 15, even though Ziegler and Tidwell should be good prospects and looking like they're just stepping up their game year by year. If Matt Allen can show that he has the stuff that everybody thought he has prior to all of his injuries, if he's healthy, this guy could be a big part of this rotation, if not the second half of this year, which I doubt, next year for sure. And you know what? When you got two older guys, if Matt Allen can step into this rotation, it helps out the rotation big time, because you're going to get another older year of Scherzer last year and Verlander as well. So I don't think Matt Allen's trash because he's been hurt. But when he's pitched, he's been very good. So if he's healthy and he can stay on the field, he might be an X factor for 2024. Possibly not this year. Charlie, I don't want Bauer. Bauer is not as good as a pitcher as people believe. Look at his career. In the pandemic year was his best year of his career. And if you know me, the pandemic year stats, throw them out the window, guys. Don't look at them. Dominic Smith had one of the best years offensively than almost the majority of baseball. And he did absolutely nothing the last two seasons. So stop looking at the pandemic year and looking at Bauer like he was great. All right? He hasn't been. All of his career, he's been mediocre at best. He was good in the pandemic year, and that was about it. I don't trust Bauer. And the Mets don't need a guy like Bauer in their rotation. If Scherzer and Verlander, and if you think Bauer's an ace, I'm sorry, he's not. I'm telling you, he's not. All right. If the Dodgers think he is that ace or solid top number 2, the Dodgers would have kept him. They're paying for him to lead the team. They would keep him. There's a reason why, because the nonsense that he dealt with that whole girlfriend or the girl that he supposedly beat up. Again, true or not, there was enough rumors out there where he's a guy that don't treat women very well. Listen, players have gotten chances before after they have the title of a wife beater, right? It's not even the point of that. The point is, if the Dodgers, who rotation, remember, Buehler's coming back from injury, Kershaw's another year older, Urias is pretty good, but let's be honest, they couldn't use Bauer in their rotation. You're damn right they can. They haven't made a lot of moves this year. They could have used Bauer in that rotation. Think for a second, why do they don't want Bauer? Because Bauer isn't as good as advertised, and he's a pain in the ass to deal with. Nobody likes him in the clubhouse, and that was another big reason why they got rid of Bauer. So you were going to bring in a guy who don't care about anybody else. He's not as good as advertised, and he hasn't pitched in a full year, almost a year and a half. And again, I know he's going to be cheap. You only got to spend $750,000 league minimum. I don't trust him to pitch well enough to deal with his attitude and his emotion and just his personality. I don't think it's good for this team. All right, let's see what else we got. Mr. 16, free agency ends when the season starts. I mean, not really, because there's still people that might be unsigned. You know, free agency can be over whenever you want it to be over, to be honest. Yeah, Joel Ruff is still on the team, unfortunately. But again, if they sign Correa, they got to make room. Sean, I know you're like the expert when it comes to rosters and stuff, and like rules and stuff. Don't the Mets have to make room if they sign Correa on the 40-man? So Ruff might be out the door soon. I don't know if Sean's still around, but if he is, he can type it in the chat. 18, that's what I believe too. Alex Ramirez, he's projected as a center fielder, but again, he's still very young. He might be too big, like he might grow into his body too much to be a center fielder. He might be just a corner outfielder, but at the moment he's a center fielder, and that's a good idea with Nimmo going to left a couple of years, keeping him healthy. You know, it's not even, see, you know what? That's a good point. He's fighting for his MLB career, but that doesn't make him. That's not going to make him be better, right? If his stuff is not there, I mean, yes, he throws hard, but everybody throws hard, right? And he didn't pitch great with the Dodgers when he was there. He wasn't. He's not that good. Look at his entire career. He's mediocre at best. Pandemic year, throw it out. He had a 1.98 ERA and won the Cy Young in the pandemic year. It was barely a half a season. He pitched 12 starts? Like that means nothing to me. In a pandemic year where you only played teams in the West, right? They played a very bad AL West besides the Astros. And at the time, the Padres weren't as good as they are now. The Giants were okay. The West were garbage. So he was only facing garbage teams most of that year in the pandemic year in the 60-game season. So I don't trust Bauer. And who are you going to take out of the rotation? You just signed Quintana, who is a guy who pitches innings, and you need a workhorse in that nature to give you quality innings. That's what Quintana is. Senga, you just gave a 5-year deal to. He's a guy that everybody loves. You're not going to take him out of the rotation. You're going to take Carrasco as your 5th starter out of the rotation for Bauer. I can guarantee you, I don't think Bauer would have a better year than Carrasco, to be honest with you. That's just my opinion. I don't trust him. Mike, thank you, Dio. Mike Lupica. Let's see. Hold on. Mike Lupica. Give me a second, guys. Somebody just said to check that out. Let me check. All right. We like the verified. All right. He put this in the tweet. When you read or hear about source saying there's a renewed market for Carlos Correa now that his physical has made the Mets hesitant about guaranteeing him a $300 million, the source is always Scott Boras. Theo, I appreciate you bringing that up. Thank you so much. I've said this over and over again. Anything that get leaked out that might make the Mets look like, not like the bad guy, but seeming that the Mets don't want to do this deal, all those leaks is 100% from Scott Boras. You're not hearing it from anybody else. For all we know, because why haven't we heard reporters from the Twins, right? The beat reporters for the Twins saying that their team is back in the mix for Correa. You haven't heard that. You haven't heard the Rosendals of the world. Sherman said at the other MLB Hot Zone that there's a possibility of one other team involved. We don't know that effect, and all their sources is probably from Scott Boras. Because why wouldn't a beat reporter from the Minnesota Twins come out and say Correa is back in the mix for the Twins? Wouldn't that hype up their fan base? But you don't hear that from those beat reporters, but you hear it from guys that are linked to Scott Boras. Boras has guys like Sherman and Heyman in particular that are mouthpieces for him. And this is Mike Lupica. And if you don't know Mike Lupica, he's a National Sports Media Hall of Fame, New York Daily News and MLB.com columnist, author of 17 NYT bestsellers. Currently, The Horsewoman with James Patterson. All right, whatever. But he's a National Sports Media Hall of Famer, New York Daily News, MLB.com columnist. So he's a legit guy. He's a guy who's been around the block a long time. If he's saying that, and obviously he gets his sources from places too, he's probably not wrong. So there is no doubt that, and I said this 100 times already, I guarantee you everything that's been leaked out, and that's why Steve Cohen has been liking tweets, and that's why he said what he said today at the event at Citi Field. Because Cohen likes to have it behind closed doors. Anything that's been leaked out is 100% Boras, and I don't think it's any other way. That's why I think this deal is going to get done, because I think Boras is just trying to get a little bit more from the Mets. And I think the Mets are going to give it to him, but they were playing a little bit of hardball. And they should play a little bit of hardball, because why not? CAA, I do like Alex Ramirez a lot. Best prospect, it might be close. I think Brett Beatty's going to be pretty good too, to be honest with you. Canada's not a 5th outfielder. Not what you need from him on this team. He's not a 5th outfielder. He's not even a 4th outfielder. He's just what the Mets need. Canada brings to the table. right? Especially if you get Correa, Canna's going to be your 8th hitter. Like, what are you trying to do at your 8th spot? Like, you need a guy that is to get your 9th guy at the plate to turn over the lineup. And that's what Canna does well. Gets on base, gets hit by pitches. That's what he does. Everybody's looking at Canna. And listen, let me know. You think the Yankees would rather have Canna or Hicks in left field right now? Yeah. Canna is not as bad as people would think. What the Mets need is not what Canna doesn't bring. Canna is another on-base guy that's going to be at the bottom of the lineup that you need a guy to be an on-base guy, right? You don't need guys that are just automatic outs. Canna's not an automatic out. He had a lot of clutch hits last year. You know what? I know Met fans are going crazy when he hit that big home run in Philadelphia, right? But he's not a big run producer. So if you're looking for him to be a run producer, you're going to be disappointed because that's what he's not. The Mets didn't bring in Canna to be the big run producer here, to be the 3rd guy or the 4th guy as the run producer. He's an on-base guy. He was a guy, if everything worked out well, if Escobar was supposed to be Escobar, you would have had that protection behind Alonso. Then you would have had McNeil after that. So Canna would have been batting 7th or 8th in this lineup. And it would have been no issue because he would have been the guy that everybody looked at to be the run producer because he had to be part of that run producing core was because nobody else was picking up the slack and Canna got stuck in that 6th, 7th role or the 5th and 6th spot to be that run producer, which he is not in his career. He's an average player that is what the Mets need is him to get on base at the bottom of the lineup. That's where he belongs. That's not a 4th outfielder. That's a guy that's supposed to be at the bottom of the lineup. The Mets put him in the middle of the lineup because they didn't have nobody that can actually be like the DH sucked, Escobar sucked. So your 2 guys that you needed to be run producers weren't there. So Canna was your next man up. That's why. All right, guys, let's just see. We're going to end this stream in a little while. Let me just check one more time. Muted. Thank you for bringing that OPS plus. Again, I don't care for analytics. I like to look at average, RBIs, and home runs, and on-base percentage, slugging percentage, stuff like that. I can care less about OPS. WAR is – I hate that stat. But you know what? For the people who don't like Correa, look at Correa's WAR over the last 2 years. He's in the top 5 of Major League Baseball. So whoever cares about WAR, I don't. Correa is top 5 in Major League Baseball. And he's up there with the best players in baseball. So if you don't want him and you care about WAR, maybe you want him now, right? I don't care for all them stupid analytics. I don't care. But you bring up a good point. OPS plus 122, solid. But again, if you're looking at Canna as being that run producer, because the Mets unfortunately had to put Canna in that spot because Escobar was garbage, catcher was garbage, and DH was garbage. 3 guys that should have been above Canna in the lineup, but because they sucked, Canna got the opportunity, and he's not that guy that's going to be an 85 RBI guy. He's just not that guy. So, of course, he's going to fail in that spot because he's not that type of player. But now, if you do get Correa, and now he can be your 8th hitter, he's going to be perfect for that 8th spot. And yes, he has a bad arm in left field, but you know what? Nimmo has a worse arm in center field. So what's the difference? And Canna is not bad defensively either. CA, you're probably right. All right, guys, I'm just going to go over the last. And I do see a lot of people muted CA. I agree with you. I don't like Duvall at all. I think he's a guy who hits a home run or strikes out. He does nothing else. And he's not great defensively. He's okay defensively, but he's not great. And he's not a huge upgrade from Canna defensively. John, well, since I heard Cohen's quote comment, which again I'm gonna post it right now. That's on the screen right now. When he said that, I think it's gonna happen either. I don't think he's gonna make a decision on football Sunday. I think you're gonna hear something Monday or Tuesday, either if it's him signing here or him not signing here. But I think we're gonna get a clarity and a resolution according to Cohen Monday or Tuesday, in my opinion. So I would say Monday or Tuesday. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, we basically have the same lineup as last year, except for the catcher, right? Navarez is going to be in the lineup, which is probably going to be better than McCann. So that's probably already a plus. But yeah, I mean, now you're going to have to rely on somebody else to be behind Pete Alonso, right? Who is that? Are you going to give it to Escobar again and give him a chance? Or are you going to let Vogelback be behind him, which wasn't very good behind Pete Alonso? Or you're going to let Alvarez be the everyday DH, but I don't think they're going to do that. I think Alvarez is going to be in the minors starting the year because the Mets want him to become at least a solid catcher. If you're going to DH him, he's not going to catch at all. And you're not going to carry 3 catchers. Navarez and Nito are going to be your 2 catchers. And Navarez is going to be the starter. You're not going to give Navarez 2 years, $14 million and sit him on the bench. You're just not doing that. Navarez is going to be a starter. So where are you going? It's going to be Escobar, Vogelback, or you're going to say screw it with Alvarez catching and put him at the DH spot. I doubt the Mets are going to do that. So you're going to run into the same problem you did last year unless Vogelback performs better as a run producer and Escobar clearly is not done because look what he did in September. So if he can be the guy that at least somewhat what he was in September, then let's go. Now we got a conversation here. Now the lineup isn't going to be so bad. But without Correa, and if Escobar is just average, well, why do we just assume that 101-win team we're going to be better? Yeah, the bullpen's better. If the rotation is healthy and everybody expects Senga to be very good, then all right, now we're talking. But we'll see. But it all comes down to the fact that let's see what happens with the Correa. And if we don't get him, I wouldn't be surprised if the Mets bring in Duvall or Mancini. Yeah, explosive. Imagine that. Harvey, DeGrom, Noah, Wheeler, Matz all off the team. Yet, and Rafael Montero. Like, that's crazy. Ramon, I don't think the Mets are trading Carrasco anymore. Oh, God, Hector. Anthony Velarde. Oh, my God. Yep. All right. So if you guys don't know, Hector from high school, yeah. So we've all played together, and Anthony Velarde, and you know he might be even watching the stream because he checks it out every now and then. Adam Duvall, you're right about that because he didn't hit well for average. He was a hell of a pitcher, but when he connected, he hit it. He hit it far. That is so true, and I know nobody knows what we're talking about, but Hector, 100%, buddy. How you doing, buddy? But that's true. Anthony Velarde for sure. That makes so much sense. Oh, Hector. You bring back the good old days, man. Well, Mike, that's fine. But again, the point is Bauer's not a good guy. And even the Dodgers couldn't stand him in the clubhouse. So if he's a distraction in the Dodgers clubhouse and a team like the Dodgers who probably could use Bauer in the rotation, why do you want him to come to the Mets to be a distraction? And I don't think he's going to be better than most guys in this rotation now for the Mets. So, all right, we got some tweets going on. Let's see. All right, so the Post just tweeted that or put up an article that said that is a headline: Steve Cohen confident Mets will make Carlos Correa decision soon. So this is something different, right? We're going to look at the Cohen quote that says this: while I can't speak on the player, I do believe we'll have a resolution soon, one way or the other. So that tells me that either Cohen's waiting for a Correa decision, but with the Post saying Steve Cohen confident Mets will make Carlos Correa decision soon. So what is it? Is it the Mets making the decision to either saying yes to the deal that maybe Correa wants, or is it Correa waiting for Correa's decision to take the Mets deal? What is it? So 2 different conflicting reports, but I'm going to go with the person who actually knows what's going on, and that's Steve Cohen. The way he says it, while I can't speak on the player, I do believe we'll have a resolution soon, one way or another. That makes me believe that it's Correa's decision, not the Mets. The Mets gave him an offer that is probably what they believe is good, and they're waiting on Correa to make the decision. With the Post, it seems like they're saying the Mets are the ones that have to make a decision. So which one is it? So either I haven't read the article yet, but are the Post basically taking Cohen's comment way too far out of context, or which one's correct? I'm going to go with the Cohen quote, where I believe that quote means that they're waiting on a decision for Correa. The Mets are done making offers. Whatever they offer them is what Correa has to make a decision on. And that's what I believe. I don't believe the Post making that decision that it seems like it's a Mets decision to back out or not. So we'll see. Yeah, see, I don't think manager means anything. Means anything when it comes to Bauer. I think Bauer's going to be Bauer. And if you follow him on social media and you watch his stupid YouTube videos, he is unquestionably cocky, which I have no problem with. But I don't think teammates like him. And you don't want another situation where you have a clubhouse divided. We saw that in 2021. Once Baez got here and went Lindor, it was a complete disaster. I know that wasn't with Buck Showalter, but I don't trust Bauer enough to be walk the company line, so to speak. And I don't want him to cause any problems in his clubhouse when his team trying to win a championship. All right, let's see. Ken, let's see. CA, so you don't care what kind of yeah, I agree with you. I agree. Damn, Ken, how I miss all your comments? Where were you? You dead. Ken wants pro far. All right. You know, Ken, I don't have all your comments. My VP will be. Oh wow. Okay, we're going political. Okay. All right. Sorry, Ken. For some reason, that's the first. I only saw like 4 comments. But yeah, again, I don't want Bauer because I think he's an asshole. To be honest with you, I think he's not a good guy, and I don't think teammates like him. All right, so more tweets. So after 2 big leaks in like 12 hours, we're now over a day with no leaks/news. That very likely is good. That's according to Jack Ramsey. It's good. It'd be leak talks were dead, I think. I agree. So Jack Ramsey, who is the guy I was telling you about that knows his stuff when it comes to the minor leagues, he works at he writes for Mesmerize. He does Mets minors. He covers the St. Lucie Mets. I agree with him. So once again, Jack Ramsey just tweeted, so after 2 big leaks in 12 hours, which 100% I believe are from Boris, that leaked them to to John Heyman and Joel Sherman. We're now over a day with no leaks and no news. That's very likely is good. And I agree. And he said he thinks if there was more stuff leaked out, it would have been more about the deal being dead. And now that we're not hearing nothing again of any substance, except the quote that we got from Cohen today, I think that's a good sign. I do think this is going to get done. And here's my prediction for Correa's contract. 9 years. Let me just make sure I got my math correct, because I think, let me see. Okay. 9 years, $270. That's $30 million a year. That's where I'm going to go. 9 years, $270. Less than 10, which I'll be ecstatic about. If you can get 3 years off that deal, I would do that. 9 years, I'm okay with, because I think you can get 5 or 6 Correa type years, and the back end of the contract, what are you going to do? It's going to be probably bad, but you still have the opportunity of him still being able to produce offensively and maybe not on the field. That's why you have the DH. So I go 270 for 9 years, which is $30 million a year. Yeah, but again, would I mind him taking that chance? I guess not. But again, we're putting him on a pedestal here. He's not that good. Stop that. He had close to a 4 ERA the last time he pitched before he got suspended. He had a 3.58 ERA. not much better than almost everybody in this rotation. And he's probably not that much better than Carrasco, if he is at all. And I don't trust him. And yeah, you want to take that chance, but you know what? Why? The Dodgers, who need pitching, did not want him. And now they're paying him to go to another team. Just think of that. Why? There's so many reasons why a team that needs pitching, that could use him in the rotation, are paying him 20 plus, what is it, 24, $26 million, $22 million to not play on their team. That's what they're doing. Think of why. And that's why I don't want him. All right, let's see. All right, guys. So we're going to end the stream just now. CA, you didn't answer my question. Or Ken, 100% agree. I think this is all Boris 100%. Again, the Mets always, with players and free agents and trades, have always been tight-lipped and been silent. Over the last couple of years, every trade that went down with the Mets weren't even rumored before it happened. We didn't know until almost it basically was a guarantee it was happening. The leaks are not coming from the Mets. So who else is going to be? Where else are these reporters who couldn't get anything right reporting, who hasn't done any reporting in 2 weeks, all of a sudden in the last 12 to 24 hours got leaks from John Heyman and Joel Sherman, who were the ones that reported this situation with them. The Twins could be possibly available. The Mets are frustrated. The Mets didn't make that comment. So where did they come from? Scott Boras. Guaranteed. 100%. The leaks are coming from Boras. Ken, you're not deleted. 9 years, I'd be ecstatic. I don't think anybody could complain about a 9-year deal. If it's less, even better. But 9 years, I think, is the tipping point. I think it's the highest the Mets should go. Again, maybe they'll do 10 years just to get that deal done. Maybe if Correa is like, listen, I want a 10th year and I'm there. Maybe the Mets have to go there. Okay, I'm not going to go crazy. But 9 years is like the point where it's like, I can't complain about this deal. Because money's a non-factor. I don't care how much you're paying them. The years matter more than the money. Because Correa, and people were putting this in the comments earlier today, Correa has nothing to do with Shohei Ohtani. Nothing at all. The Mets are not going to go after Ohtani and say, all right, we're not going after him because we got Correa. The Mets are going to have about $120 million coming off the books after this season. That's more than enough money to go get Shohei Ohtani. Even if you got to give him $50 million a year, you still got $70 million to play with to get back at the same level that you have of your salary, of your payroll now. All right, guys, so we're going to end the stream. Let me just do it one more time. Let me just check. All right, let's see. Jeez, there's so many comments. I appreciate that, guys. 4-year, $500 million, Ken. Listen, I do that in a heartbeat. Yep. Oh, Eric's a Jags fan. Wow, I haven't seen one of those before. Well, good luck to you guys against Tennessee. All right, guys. So here we go. Well, Todd, that's a good one. What if Correa Lindor becomes Lindor Baez? You know why? Because Baez is a good player, but I think he lets his emotions get the best of him, in my opinion. And I think because Lindor was having a bad season and bringing in Baez just wasn't a good combination. Correa is a different story. Correa is a leader. He is a leader. Baez is not. Baez is not a leader at all. All right. Correa is a leader. And Joe said there's 2 more tweets. Let me check it out really quick. Let's see. Before we end this, let's go. All right. So I don't know who posted this, but so this is, I guess, an article for summer. Despite the hiccup on Thursday, both Correa and the Mets appear to have strong mutual interest to complete the deal with each other. If the two teams flagged the same concern, Correa likely wouldn't find a bigger offer on the market if he backs out. And the Mets don't have many other options of Correa's caliber to sign, obviously. With Cohen notably telling Heyman, we need one more thing, and this is it, after originally agreeing to terms. So this is what somebody put up there. I'm assuming it's a legitimate report. Joe, I don't know if you can just let me know if that's who was that from. That's what I want to know. Okay, this was a part of the New York Post article. So once again, I'm going to read it one more time. Despite the hiccup on Thursday, both Correa and the Mets appear to have strong mutual interest to complete the deal with each other. If the two teams flagged the same concern, Correa likely wouldn't find a bigger offer on the market if he backs out. And the Mets don't have many other options at the caliber level of Correa to sign. We need, with Cohen telling Heyman, we need one more thing. And this is it, after originally agreeing to terms with Correa. So with that said, guys, I will see you guys tomorrow, 6 p.m. for the first Shea Bridge show with Mike. Obviously, if you were here earlier, Mike is the co-host of the show, so we're going to bring him in. We're going to go over all the topics that we talked about today, and whatever news that comes out tomorrow, if you get any, we shall see. So with that said, everybody have a good night. Let's freaking hope this Correa thing is done, hopefully in the next couple of days, because I ain't going to lie. I want Correa, but I'm sick of it. I am. I'm not going to lie to you guys. As much as I want him, if this doesn't get done in the next 2 or 3 days, please, Mets, walk away. That's it. So with that said, everybody have a good night. Once again, if you want to become a member of the channel, just click on that join button or go to the channel page, and you can select an option. There's 3 different types of memberships. Again, you get more entries into the giveaways. If you are on the higher end of the memberships, obviously you pay more monthly. You should be able to get more entries in that. So Grant, you're a busy man, but I'm just about to leave. But Grant, as I was saying earlier, we're going to be doing a giveaway for the members soon. As soon as the Correa situation becomes resolved, I'm going to do a giveaway for the members. So once again, guys, everybody have a good night. As always, let's go Mets. Have a good night. See you tomorrow night, 6 p.m. The Shea Bridge Show right here on Talking Mets with Rob. Everybody have a good night. See you next time, guys.
You'll find a Mets fan. Let's go. This is a Mets year for all your